Hey y'all, IrixGuy here, back again with another live show. Now if you're watching this at approximately 5:17 p.m. New York City time, this is a live show. Now you can see you got Sean Coonery, the enormous, well there you go, pointing at him now, the enormous Maine Coon cat. He's in the studio. M-Life M6, welcome aboard. Starting to see a lot of people tune in live right now, and as always, I encourage everyone to share on your social media, because we're live now, and anything that you type, if it's approximately 5:15 p.m. New York City time, then I have the opportunity to respond live, face on video. So without further ado, let's get started here. We got a lot of people coming in. We got M-Life M6. B Hendo 15, welcome aboard, you made it. Ken, howdy, welcome aboard, Ken. Welcome aboard, everyone. Sean Cooner, you can see back there in the studio, he's taking a bath. He's he's getting ready for his next big video. He's getting close to, on the hashtag Maine Coon Mondays series. And if you haven't checked that out, you can check it out on SeanCoonery.com, but he's getting close to 100 episodes. So, he's a busy cat. He's got a lot of personal obligations. 90 whatever says, Ola, got the email reminder you were live. Very cool. That's cool how, YouTube's interface, what fascinates me about Google, not just YouTube, but Google is kind of a, I'm trying to think of the best way to put this. Google's kind of a company, and they say, hey, here's a sandbox, and they just give you a box, and you may even have to find the sand and everything else, but they give you the framework necessary to become creative. So they're not there providing you with an owner's manual, this, that, and the other, but they've got tools. And your comment just now, from 90 whatever, saying you got a reminder that I was live, that's cool, because that's a feature that YouTube has been so kind to implement, because this was not a scheduled show. I just said, you know what, I'm going to host a live show, why not? See how many people tune in. We can talk about whatever. So that's very cool. I appreciate you sharing that. B Hendo says, I sold my Phantom 3 4K and accessories in hopes of a brand new DJI drone this September. Well, yeah, they did, didn't they? Yeah, again, it's August. It's August the 9th, and, I'm starting to get antsy here. Haven't heard anything official from DJI. They need to get out and get off their rocker and release something. Speaking of that, they did release something, and I posted a link on, you can go to my Facebook fan page as well as my Twitter, but it's the Crystal Sky. And it looks, I don't know, tell me what you think. It looks really cool as far as a display for drones. But the thing that I'm curious about is that, it's one of those things you get, and it's geared towards drones. It's not like, oh, I'm going to get an iPad and I'm going to use it for other things too. The Crystal Sky is, am I saying that right? Let's see. I posted it on my Twitter. I just now posted it. Crystal Sky. Yeah, it's called Crystal Sky. It's their, I guess you would say, their version of a tablet. But it's supposed to have this phenomenal display. I haven't gotten one yet, but it's gotten my interest. But when I look at the price point of it, I'm like, well, I don't know. Maybe I ought to just, if I was going to fly with that, maybe I'd just get an iPad or an iPhone and, have all of those other capabilities. But the screen on the Crystal View is supposed to be exceptional. And actually, not the Crystal View, but the Crystal Sky. I'm actually probably going to, I want to see if they've got them at DJI store in New York, and drop by there and take a look at one. But yeah, lots of interesting stuff going on here. So let's see. B Hendo says it was as reliable for me as I was hoping. Yeah, it's funny, the Phantom 3, that, in my opinion, Phantom 3 series was one of the best. And inevitably though, as with most other technology, when it's a generation or so behind, it becomes harder to get the accessories, the replacement propellers, batteries, etc. So, you probably made a smart move with unloading and waiting to see what's next. But yeah, I mean, it's getting close to that time. It is August the 9th, and I mean they got to release something for Christmas. I mean, look, GoPro's coming out with the cameras. B Hendo says I want to finally get something with OcuSync or LightBridge versus Wi-Fi. I will tell you, I never realized what the difference that would make. Now, obviously, I fly line of sight to be safe and responsible, but I never realized how much better of a user experience that made. When I jumped from, I was with the Phantom 2 Vision Plus, and then I got the Phantom 3 Pro, and going from Wi-Fi with the Phantom 2 Vision Plus to the LightBridge with the Phantom 3 Pro, I mean, it was a huge leap. The biggest advantage that I found was that, when I was looking at my live stream, my FPV view, obviously I was maintaining visual line of sight with the drone while I was flying, but to be able to have that good looking of a real-time video feed, I mean, and there's probably a slight delay, but, that's why I fly line of sight to be safe, but, to have that high-quality real-time video feed lining up shots, for videos, still photos, I mean, it just made it a super duper, just highly intuitive experience. It was better, more reliable than the Wi-Fi. Nothing wrong with the Wi-Fi. Phantom 2 Vision Plus, in your case, the Phantom 3 4K that had Wi-Fi, it worked great. I mean, DJI doesn't release junk, and I mean, it worked really good. But yeah, you will definitely, if you're like me, you'll probably definitely appreciate the upgrade, just the overall user experience if you go with OcuSync or LightBridge. B Hendo says, I have a really good experience with the Spark with a cable connecting my phone and controller. Hey, that's a brilliant idea. Sky High Videography, hi. Welcome aboard, Sky High. Welcome aboard. Again, everyone, if you're watching this at approximately 5:22 p.m. New York City time, this is a live show. Obviously, after this show concludes, you'll be able to find this episode and all previously recorded IrixGuy's live show episodes on IrixGuy.com. And it goes without mentioning all the drones and things that we talk about. I'll be sure to include those within the blog post. So check out my website and you can find everything we're talking about. Something else of interest, and this being IrixGuy's live show, I can jump out of just the drone arena. I mean, obviously drones, I'm obsessed with drones, but I'm obsessed with cameras too. And this being the A7R2, we've seen a few signals this year from Sony, and one of those being, it looks like they may be about to possibly unveil a medium format camera. Now, I don't know if y'all are interested in that. That's a little bit too advanced for my needs, but what I am excited about, this being the A7R2, the A7 III, and hopefully the A7R3, and hopefully the A7S3 as well. Hopefully those are coming soon. Now, the R, if you're not familiar, I mean, this thing is a beast. As far as still photo quality, it is a beast. It's just a very high megapixel camera. It uses a Sony E-mount system. You pair this with a few good lenses. Right now I've got the Zeiss Batis 25mm on here. I've got the Batis 85 and the Loxia 50. The Loxia 50 is a fully manual focus lens. But I mean, this camera body has been awesome, and I'm hoping that when Sony releases the A7R3 series, or the A7R3 body rather, that this LCD display on the back, see how it goes up and it can go out, it can go out, it can go down. If you're shooting over your head, you can look at that, you can angle it this way. But what this can't do is pop out to the side or pop up, so that if you're filming face on video, that you can see, you can confirm whether or not you're in the camera's frame, and that's a nuisance. Now, hopefully, Sony will, maybe take that into consideration. They haven't yet, and I'm not bashing Sony. I love Sony, but if they could do something like Panasonic's done with the GH5 and the GH4, and have it to where it pops out to the side. Now, the GH5 and the GH4, those are micro four thirds, so they're not full frame. This is a full frame camera body, and if you make the leap to a full frame camera body, it's just such a much more professional experience. Just the image quality you can get for stills, and then also video. So that's something hot on my radar. In addition to that, Sony's action cameras. It looks like there may be one of those on the horizon very soon. And I've never owned a Sony action camera, but I love the Sony mirrorless cameras and their camcorders so much that I think I may check one of those out, even though I've got so many GoPro mounts. It's going to be interesting to see how the next Sony action camera and the GoPro Hero 6, also the GoPro Fusion, how all of those will compete with one another, because it's the image quality of these cameras is just getting to be outstanding, and it's getting it in a portable package should be great. Sky High Videography says, do you think the Mavic Pro 2 will have 4K 60? Well, I do, and the reason being is that if you look out there now, and I've got a link to it on my website, but there's a camera, and it's, a lot of y'all may have heard of it, but it's called a Yi, Yi. It's the Yi 4K Plus. Actually, a viewer the other day was commenting about how they had actually ordered the Yi 4K Plus. That camera, and if I'm not mistaken, the company that manufactures the guts of it may be a company by the name of Umbrella. I don't know if you follow the stock market, but they've kind of been the industry leader as far as action camera processors and that sort of stuff's concerned. So, looking at the size of that would lead one to believe that if they can pack 4K 60 into an action camera, now DJI's done it with their Phantom 4 Pro, but if they can package it into that size, I would think they could package it into something that would work with a Mavic size platform. And that's why I think the Mavic Pro 2, in my opinion, it would almost have to have 4K 60 to be deemed a significant upgrade. I expect 4K 60 or better out of the Mavic Pro 2 and a 1-inch sensor. I mean, you put that on something portable like that, you're creating something that that can really further position yourself to be an industry leader for the long haul. MLife M6 says, that's what I'm waiting for, the Mavic Pro 2. Me as well. And the Phantom 5. I'm excited about both. Ron says, hello from Indianapolis. Hello, Ron. Welcome aboard. B. Hendo says, I'm hoping they're released soon. I do too. I mean, again, with the holiday season rolling around, you're selling stuff, you're selling cutting-edge technologies. Yeah, you got to get it out there. You got to get it out there. And I think, obviously, DJI wants to make money. So, it's somewhat imminent, the fact that we'll see a Phantom 5 and/or a Mavic Pro 2 by Christmas. It would be hard to say, oh, they're not going to release anything, because they'd be really missing out. Jack says, I have a Bebop 2 and ordered the new controller. New controller will not connect to the Bebop. The red light continues to blink. Any suggestions? I wish I had a suggestion. Maybe some other viewers that are on live right now are familiar with that. I dealt with the Bebop 1 with the original Sky controller, but I haven't had experience with the Bebop 2 or the new controller. So I don't have, beyond the basics, making sure they're charged. Did it work in the past? If so, when did it stop working? Was there a software update that was performed before it stopped working? Was it subjected to any sort of damage? Maybe you left it in a hot car, maybe it got wet. I know that's not of value, but I just wanted to throw that out there anyway. I wish I had a better answer for you. B. Hendo says, get DJI's my suggestion. LOL. I've had a Bebop myself, and they don't compare. They really don't. And the funny thing is, the Parrot Bebop, when it was first announced, it was brilliant because, you know, it was a time where DJI Phantom was your most portable, serious drone, and then Parrot Bebop comes to the scene. Parrot comes to the scene, and they say, you know what? We're going to create something smaller, something more lightweight, more portable. And you know, I was all over that. Now at the time, with the Parrot Bebop 1, the only option to increase one's range was to get the huge Sky Controller, which the size of the Sky Controller for the Parrot Bebop 1 totally negated the positive aspects of that drone being a smaller and more lightweight drone. So it was just a dumb deal. And then when you looked at the video from it, it was software stabilized, not gimbal stabilized. And it wasn't 4K, obviously. So you're getting degraded 1080p. It just didn't look good. I mean, if you're in it for video and photography, it wasn't a serious option, unfortunately. You know, and then you had the big players come to the field. Obviously, DJI with their Mavic Pro, and it pretty much totally crushed that. But I2017 says good morning. Good morning. Jack says I have a DJI Phantom 3. Oh, cool. Very cool. Yeah, the Phantom 3 is a great drone. Yeah, I mean, what if you don't mind me asking, what attracted you, given that you have a Phantom 3 4K, what attracted you to the Parrot Bebop 2? Nuclear armament. That's a fun word to say. The Sony HDC 4300. Is that the new one that's been touted? Let me see. Oh, that's a pro. I was thinking action camera. I loaded that up. Wow, that thing's a beast. Yeah, that's a nice camera. Definitely definitely out of the IrixGuy's Adventure Channel budget, but cool nevertheless. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. That is a very cool looking camera. Let's see, features. Uses the B4 mount. Wow. That is crazy. Crazy fancy. I bet that's even, I mean, I didn't even look at the price. That's probably more expensive than a Red camera. Those things are sky high. Yeah, so got a lot of people here. This is great. Jack says I started with Parrot. Next drone is Spark. So you must like the smaller size drones. Is it for portability or is it just for? Well, one thing that was cool with the Parrot, you know, you could do the tricks. You could do the flips and that sort of stuff, which was kind of neat. Man, let's see what else we got brewing here. Yeah, so there should be you know, a lot of good tech coming our way. That's funny that DJI actually has a store in New York. It's pretty funny. Jack says just getting old and crazy. Old and crazy. That makes sense. You get old, you want to have cool toys, and what better toy to to play with than a drone. I mean, it's about the best thing in the world right now to play around with, without a doubt. You know, and speaking of that, you know, back to the concern about man, I got bugs on my GoPro. This is GoPro Hero 5 Session. I've been impressed with this camera. I mean, obviously you can't change the batteries, but to have small size and small weight and get 4K 30, it's been a real treat. But again, I'm ready for the GoPro Fusion, which is VR, 360 degree spherical, and also the GoPro Hero 6. Sky High Videography says, do you think the Phantom 5 will be better than the current Inspire? I definitely do, but I've got a little bit of bias there, and I've expressed it within other videos. I'm personally, and no offense to people that are, but I'm personally not a fan of the Inspire. The Inspire 1, the Inspire 2, whatever. The Inspire is too big. The Inspire is too heavy, in my opinion. So, for that reason, I think I would take a Phantom 3 4K, or a Phantom 3 Pro over the Inspire or the Inspire 2 any day of the week. And that's just based upon my personal preference. So for that reason, unless DJI really fails to execute properly with the Phantom 5, I have no doubt that the Phantom 5, in my opinion, will blow the Inspire and the Inspire 2 and the Inspire 3 and the Inspire 6, whatever else they may release. It'll blow it out of the water, in my opinion. But that's just my opinion, because I'm not a fan of the Inspire. BHendo15 says, GoPro copied the Polaroid Cube. You know what's funny? That's I found that when I was doing a Google search the other day, and I'm like, that does look like it looks similar to a Session. It is kind of interesting. It's good build quality. That's one thing I like about GoPro. I mean, when they release something, it's well made, and it performs reliably, and it's easy to update the firmware. They've really streamlined, thanks to their GoPro app on smartphone, they've really streamlined the GoPro firmware update process. CalFrox62 says, hello from the Philippines. Hello. Very nice place. Bet the weather in the Philippines is perfect. That is really cool. We got people all over the globe. This is great. So yeah, I mean, it's this time of year is always exciting, because you don't really know what's next. You know, the holidays are coming. You know that people are going to be asking for gifts. You know, they want stuff for the holidays, and the people that supply Santa Claus, they got to get moving. They got to release a new drone, bunch of drones, bunch of cameras. I mean, I got 2 cavities. I got to get these things drilled out. I go to the dentist every 6 months. It drives me crazy. My teeth hurt. I'll get gas though, so that'll feel good. Make me not as nervous about getting drilled in the mouth. Sky High Videography says, is the price too aggressive for the current Spark? My personal opinion is that the price for the current model DJI Spark is extremely aggressive. And I mean, I think it's aggressive even for the one without the controller. I think it's you know, given the tech that actually comes with it at that price point, it's nice, but it's pretty limited at the same time. So I think the Mavic price, I think in a perfect world, what would happen is that we would see the DJI Spark price drop significantly. That we would see the Mavic Pro come in. I would like to see the Mavic Pro 2 come in below the $800 US mark. I think that would be good. I don't think they need to increase the price of the Phantom line. I think the Phantom 5, I think it should come in under $1,000 US. And a lot of people probably think I'm crazy saying this, but I mean, it just makes sense. I mean, the technology to manufacture these drones is a lot more affordable now. And I know, well, you know, one could argue, well, that's great if they keep the prices the same. That's it's more profit for the manufacturer, which is true. But think if they lowered those prices, you know, they could even attract more people. Now, the flip side of that is attracting more people. When a company attracts more people with a product, some of those people may be people you don't want to have, that you would prefer not have the product, because they're the people that are using it in inappropriate ways, and it's creating a perception problem for the responsible hobbyists. So that's another way to look at it. B. Hendo says DJI, I think, is doing everything it could and should be doing from a business perspective. B. Hendo says they're aggressive, but they rule the world market of drones. Without a doubt. I mean, they're the king of drones throughout the world. And it's again, a lot of people have compared DJI to Apple. Like, you know, you got fanboys, you know, they're just biting to buy everything new that comes out. And I think that's partly what fuels DJI's pricing, because they know that regardless of what they price it, as long as it's within some sort of reason, that it's probably going to sell. And then it's, I mean, they need a competitor. And people have tried, but they haven't really tried. And GoPro, I mean, if I had been, let's say I'd been on the product development team at GoPro, I would have been very brutally honest. I would have said, you got a great company, you've got a great cult of users that love your GoPros. They've been using them most of them since GoPro version 1. They really are passionate about your product. You've got great customer service. And you have failed severely with the Karma. You know, you should have just, when that thing failed to impress, let's say it hadn't even been recalled, but when it just failed to impress, you should have gone back to the drawing board and put that pain point behind you. But instead, what did GoPro do? They re-released the Karma, the same drone, without the flaw that could potentially cause it to fall out of the sky. Bad business move, in my opinion. You know, they should have just owned it. They should have said, this is lame. We failed to compete with DJI. We're going back to the drawing board. And the optimistic side of me says that's what they're doing behind the scenes. That they're already saying, okay, we're going to get into VR. We're getting into spherical video. We're going to release in tandem a new drone that's smaller, more lightweight, that'll do 360 video. That's a game changer. You know, that's something that DJI has not released. That is a game changer. Again, especially with Apple releasing iMac Pro this holiday season in December, that's geared towards VR, 360 degree, spherical, you know, you use those words interchangeably, video content editing. So it only makes sense. B. Hendo says, I don't think the Phantom 5 or Mavic 2 will be out until mid-September now, since it takes them between the time they make the initial announcement about their upcoming drones. Well, you know, that's possible. I firmly expect an announcement, at least an announcement in August, because you know they gotta get this thing on the road. You know, we gotta have a Phantom 5 and/or Mavic Pro 2. Adam says, what upgrades would you want to see for the new Mavic when it releases? Okay, there's a few things that I don't just want to see, but I've got to see. Number one, Mavic Pro 2, tap to focus requirement, throw that out the window. That is garbage. It is a huge pain point. Number two, the camera in the Mavic Pro 2 has to be as good or better than the Phantom 4. It's got to be. In a perfect world, throw in a 1-inch sensor, throw in 4K 60 or better, and even better, if you want to make it a modular camera, do that. So we can swap it out with a spherical camera. That'd be really cool. And something else with the Mavic Pro 2, you know, develop some sort of mechanism. And I'm thinking, you know, you got the 4 little arms on the Mavic Pro. Well, in the Mavic Pro 2, you probably got those 4 arms because it's quadcopter. Quad means 4. And have some sort of telescoping landing gear. So in other words, if you imagine, let's just think about this. So you got an ink pen, you push that, it pops out, right? And then you push it again, it goes in. Magic. So imagine if you had landing gear that could be controlled by the controller or the app, and you would push it, and instead of like a quick pop, it would just be a gentle extension of the landing gear, and then when you took off, it would be a gentle retraction of the landing gear. Now what will that do? What's the significance of that? You know, it's not eye candy. It's not to be like, ooh, this is like an Inspire, dude. Check it out. The landing gear goes up and it looks so gnarly, dude. No, it's not like that. It's functional. What it's doing is providing, when that drone lands, let's just say you're landing with this, you've got very limited clearance between the drone and the ground. So if you're not landing on a flat surface, or even if you're landing on a flat surface and something's there that can interfere, the probability of that camera making contact with something hard on the ground during takeoff, or during landing rather, is pretty probable. But you know, add that landing gear, and then you're landing, let's just say, with this much clearance, and then the camera's up here, the camera's better protected. Why would one not want to better protect their investment? And it should be very simple for them to design something that, you know, again, not fold up. I don't want it to look like an Inspire or a Typhoon H. I don't care about that. You know, it's not about the bling bling. You know, my landing gear goes up. That's not what it's about. It's about being functional. So instead of folding up and trying to look, yo man, I'm cool, just have it slide up and slide down and control it with the controller. Simple to implement, I would think. Why not? Let's see, you got some more good comments here. B-Hendo says, I think the Mavic will need 350-degree obstacle avoidance. That's a great point. And a 4K 60 camera may be a little smaller. Now, B-Hendo says, what are your thoughts on the news about the DJI Spark falling out of the sky on occasion? I've only heard about it. I think I don't believe something unless I've experienced it, or someone that's a reputable source has experienced it, because there's a lot of, as we know, not just with drones, but there's a lot of fake news online. So, I mean, I never encountered it. I don't know anybody that has personally, so. B-Hendo says, yet to tease anything. Didn't the Mavic come out in October? Let's see. I'd have to look back at my calendar to see when it came out. I think the Mavic announcement was kind of rushed because, you know, there are uncertainties with GoPro. GoPro Karma was coming out. At that point in time, they didn't know. Was GoPro Karma going to be a threat? Obviously it wasn't. They executed poorly and it was a piece of junk. I hate to say that. I love GoPro, but the Karma drone was a piece of junk. And but at that point in time, I think DJI expedited the release of the Mavic Pro because they wanted to position themselves to attempt to dethrone GoPro should the GoPro drone, the GoPro Karma, had been a success. Jacob says, that would be a useful feature for the Mavic. I agree. 90 whatever. I would love to see some sort of standardization for DJI batteries. Having to buy a model, proprietary battery that even goes obsolete by model is a concern for me. Lithium-ion batteries wear out, expensive for the consumer. Great money maker for DJI. I agree with you wholeheartedly, and it's annoying. It is annoying, and I'm with you 100%, especially with the subtle design differences that we've seen so far among the various DJI Phantom models. There's no reason. I mean, yeah, Phantom 1 was a little different, but Phantom 2, Phantom 3, Phantom 4, Phantom 4 Pro, there's no reason all of those couldn't have used the same form factor battery, in my opinion. You're right, it's probably to make money. Fruipel says, as I told you before, I won't purchase a P5. It has a similar airframe as the P4 line due to cracking, and it doesn't fold to a smaller package. And Fruipel says a P5, talking about a Phantom 5, to me is a larger Mavic, which is more stable in higher winds and had a great camera and gimbal. Fruipel says, since it is like the Mavic, it won't need any landing gear. Interesting. Hey, Sean Coonery. Yeah, Sean Coonery, the big Maine Coon cat. Come here. Hey, come over here. Come on, camera. Yeah, come on over. Come on. Well, he jumped down off of the desk. He said he didn't want to talk about drones. But, yeah, we got to see something soon. Got to see something soon. But, yeah, good stuff. Well, got to figure out, I got to go into Chef IrixGuy mode and figure out something to cook. So, I did fancy hot dogs last night. I think I'm going to do ziti, baked ziti, Italian dish tonight. Frugal says, as I told you before, I would like a dumber battery where they have less smartness, which should be built into the bird itself, keeping the cost down on batteries. Very brilliant. I like that. You know, I like that. I like the way you think, and that's, you know, it's all these thoughts that are being shared right now. That it would seem if there was, and obviously I don't have a team of developers or people with this skill set or the funding to do it at this point in time. But if there was someone that did, and they really wanted to attempt to dethrone DJI, which I love DJI. I love their products, but like anything else, I want to see something better, something more affordable. And it would just be great if we had, you know, if as this show continues to reach more people, if we could get people in, you know, in the audience that were ready to take that next move. You know, people that, let's just say, sophisticated investors. You know, people that are really financially able to make ideas materialize. You know, that would be great to see a lot of people come together and develop something, to develop the next technology and the true DJI competitor. That'd be really cool. Frugal says, also the smarts would also be part of the charger. A battery should just be a battery and be so sophisticated. I agree. Yeah, it's, you know, it's the, you know, and then you look at these devices like this right here, the iPhone 7 Plus. I mean, unless you have special tools, you can't even replace the battery yourself. It's Apple for you. Which hopefully DJI doesn't go that route and make it to where you can't replace the battery. Sky High Videography. Do you think the Phantom 5 will have a zoom feature in the camera? Actually, I'm shocked that the Phantom 4 Pro didn't bring that to the table. You know, given that you know, we saw the new version of the Osmo with the zoom feature. So it's something that I think would make sense. And you know, maybe intentionally they were holding out for the Phantom 5. And I think that it's highly plausible that that Phantom 5 could have a zoom feature built into the camera. And to even further support that theory, it would make sense if they wanted to further differentiate between the Mavic line and the Phantom line. You know, give the Phantom something a little bit more. You know, give it that zoom camera, but don't put the zoom on the Mavic. You know, something, you know, another differentiating factor that they can use to drive their customer to a different product line. And, you know, then at the bottom of the barrel, you got the DJI Spark, super small, super lightweight. But I think we're going to see Spark, you know, as signaled by DJI adding the gimbal wheel speed adjustment to the app for Spark. I think we're going to see the future, maybe the Spark 2 or Spark Pro, whatever they want to call it. I think we're going to see a more feature-rich version of the Spark. Frugal says, in your videography with your island videos and such, do you think you're even missing not having a zoom feature? I don't see a need for zoom myself. Well, and that's a great question. I think typically a zoom, unless you really know how to use a zoom, I think it detracts from the watchability of the video, because anytime you're zooming, you're probably shaking your hand at the same time, so it kind of degrades the quality of the video, in my opinion. Now, there are certain scenarios where a zoom would be handy. Say there's a seagull or some sort of UFO that's in close proximity, and you want to zoom in on that flying or that moving object that is potentially also getting further away from the camera while it's being filmed. So in that scenario, a zoom would be handy. But for me, obviously my GoPro, no zoom. My Sony a7R II, yeah, I can put a zoom lens on it, but what do I walk around with all the time? It's 25mm Batis. It's not a zoom, it's a prime. And then my other two lenses, 85mm and 50mm, they're prime lenses. Something I do want to add to the kit is a zoom lens, like a 70 to 400 or a 70 to 300. And that would be good, when you do need to zoom in, there's some action going on, maybe boats offshore or something like that, where a zoom would be beneficial. But 90% of the time, I would prefer not to use zoom. So, and then, that goes into the drone thing. Is zoom really going to be perceived as needed, as necessary, if they offer that feature in an upcoming Phantom drone? Sky High Videography says, do you think they should realize to release the Mavic Pro 2 before the new iPhone comes out, and the Phantom 5 before the new iPhone comes out? Well, I don't know. I don't even know if those two, if the Apple iPhone and the DJI drones, if those really even, I mean, unless there was some sort of feature that the new iPhone would bring that would somehow add perceived value to the drone, I don't think it would really matter. 2017, you need a zoom to spy on people. LOL. Only joking. Zoom great for video production, so you can just cut and edit your shot. Yeah, that's a good point. But yeah, I'm gonna go turn into Chef IrixGuy. So got to get some food going. Got to continue to eat well, but concurrently work out and maintain the shape. So yeah, this is just another live show. We got a ton more coming soon. Again, check out IrixGuy.com, because this show, after this live show concludes, it'll be available to view offline. You can share with others. Subscribe if you haven't already. YouTube.com/IrixGuy. Check out IrixGuy.com. You can find all the drones, the drone accessories, cameras. Follow me on social media: Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram. It's all it's all IrixGuy. Just go to those sites, follow me there. Everybody have a good day. I mean, it's been great watching not watching, but interacting with the audience here. Y'all have had some great feedback, and we'll do a lot more live shows very soon. Thanks everyone. Thanks for tuning in, and most importantly, remember, be a drone evangelist. Go out and preach safe and responsible drone use, and let's continue to enable this hobby. Let's work to enable this hobby to continue to exist. Thanks for watching, and y'all have a good day. Hey y'all, IrixGuy here. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to subscribe, like, and share. It's viewers like you that enable my channel to continue to grow. Thank you.